Yes.
Ready for this theme music? Let's get it.
Scotch, bourbon, the rye, yeah, we on that whiskey. Wanna discuss an array of topics, conversation simply. Gonna drop your whiskey bars with the sip hitting for. Could you pass it, you want more? Another glass, let it flow. A steady pour. Steady pour. Yeah, a steady pour. A steady pour of growing, a steady pour of sharing, a steady pour of knowing. Now pass that Glen Carry. So pull up a chair, grab a glass, and enjoy a melanin infused perspective with a whiskey twist. Yeah, a steady pour.
Yes, sir. You're listening to another episode of a Steady Pour podcast. I'm your co-host, Drew.
Calvin.
Tony.
Darius. And we are all your co-hosts.
Yeah, you fucked it up. That's all right. I was trying not to give you. I was trying not to give you shit about it. Let
My man be great.
Yes. So we
Let him cook.
So we back for another episode, and we actually got a special guest.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's pretty dope that we like to reach out and see other parts of the industry. And so we actually have with us Harsha, owner of Beverage King out of Norwalk, Connecticut. Harsha, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's good?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
Looking forward to doing this. I know we've talked about this for a while, so I'm excited for this.
Nice.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Excited to have you on the show, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I see the bottles in the back. I see
Right.
the bottles in the back.
Move to the side real quick.
He's-
Not the pig.
Oh,
Wait.
No,
that doesn't count. He owns a liquor store.
That's true. But it's still impressive.
Well, I was gonna ask, how did it go?
Block my man shine, bro. Let him go off.
Wait, I gotta say this. So I do go and hunt. So
Okay.
there are balls out there that I've actually went out and bought. So
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Those don't hit the shelves. Those are for your personal
Of
stash.
course not.
those do not
that's-
hit the shelves.
Okay. All right.
Right.
on those.
We need to hit that bunker the next time we go, I think.
That's
But there you
funny.
go. Is that incentive enough to come do?
Cal, you gotta work, buddy.
It's like the alcoholic version of a doomsday prepper.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So how many of them are unopened?
Ooh.
How many of them are unopened?
Of the ones that you have
I
hunted.
open a lot. So if you see behind
Thank
me,
you.
My man.
my issue is I open them all and then I get fixated on one particular bottle until I find something else. And then I'm on to that next one and I forget to go back to it. And then when I have somebody over, we go back and we try it. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot how good this bottle was and why I loved it.
Nice.
So it's a cycle. It's like I'm like that kid in the candy store. I want the newest and the best thing.
Yep.
And once
That's no issue, man.
So
Don't call it an
did you
issue.
do you open them all by yourself?
No, it's one I have. You met my buddies the last time when we actually met, guys.
Yeah.
Greg, Nick, Dave, and all those guys.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's like my regular crew who we open bottles with.
Okay.
Nice.
Tony, do you have a regular crew that you
That you open bottles
Yeah,
with?
you guys right here.
How often do you open any bottles by yourself at all? Or is all regulated for the crew? Like any?
No, I mean, so you know what? So I actually found this in your neck of the woods. Have you guys ever had anything from Optinium?
I haven't.
I've
No.
heard of it, but haven't had it.
So this is 16 year or I'm sorry, 26 year Canadian rye,
Wow.
155 proof.
Whoa. Wow.
So yeah, so I actually bought this in Jersey. This was, I guess, a store pick that was done by, and you guys would know this better than I would. Bourbon Street Wine and Spirits.
Where is that?
Where? On Bourbon Street.
Was it South Jersey, North Jersey?
What do you call it?
Was it South Jersey, North Jersey? Do you know?
This is closest to where I guess Penelope is. That's
Roselle?
All right.
That's
I
right.
don't know what part of Jersey that is.
Yeah, that's North
That's
Jersey.
North Jersey.
North-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Bordering on Central.
Union County
So-
area.
So based off of, you see how we've been hitting this pretty hard.
Yeah.
So this was one of
150.
those things
Using
where
that
I
to start
bought
your
it
car?
out of, when I've heard about them. and I've read a bunch of reviews saying how it's like some of the best rye out there. I just wasn't sure. I'm like 26 years for a Canadian rye. That's a pretty long time, and I had to prove. Bought it based not knowing anything about it, and once we cracked it open and tried, I'm like, holy hell! I'm like, one, it doesn't drink at the proof at all, and two, for a rye, it's got so much sweetness. It's been one of our favorites lately.
Nice.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
sounds delicious.
You got
I had to like try to look it up real quick.
I saw you open the coin. I'm like, look it up right now.
Yeah, it's not really close to, but I guess it's. I see two things. There's one in Phillipsburg, and there's one in Flemington.
That's not that far. That's where I work, actually. I work
Flemington?
in
So that means
Flemington.
I would send you out to get it, but you be over there cracking
He
it.
would have cracked it
I
immediately.
might crack it.
I mean, he cracked it too. He had a crew. He cracked that by himself.
Yeah. No, he didn't. He cracked it with the crew.
No, he said that was solo.
all right,
That was solo.
It was initially cracked by myself.
Thank
and then,
you.
Tried it with boys.
Nice.
Then he tried it with his boys. So we crack them by ourselves, and then we bring it to y'all. Come on.
Whatever.
I'm with there with you.
Yeah, I tried.
I'm with there with you.
But we got something to crack too, right? What we got, man? Well,
It's
it's been
already
cracked.
cracked, but we can crack it again.
Well, did this come from Tony? Because we know it's going to be cracked already. Tony, is this yours? Is this yours, Tony?
Tony, is
No
that yours?
comment. No comment.
I'm gonna take it as yours because it's half
It's
done
fine.
already.
Okay. So this is a quarter opened bottle of foolproof 1792.
Can't stand you.
Yeah, so it's the foolproof 1792, 125 proof.
Right, and we've tried some other 1792s, right? Yes, we did.
Sweet wheat.
I mean, I've liked
Small batch.
most sweet
small
wheat.
batch.
Yeah.
Are we passing this or what?
Oh yeah. So I remember us actually. I think we were saying that we liked the small batch
More than
surprisingly more,
than the sweet
just
wheat.
or than the sweet wheat. We were expecting the opposite.
We were the oddballs
Well,
on that one.
Oh, I mean, well, I want to clarify if I can remember. Like, I would say we were. It caught us off guard that we thought the small batch wasn't going to taste good at all. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, because sweet wheat's very hard to find.
Well,
That's
no.
like-
I think we had already tried the small batch, and we were like, okay, that's pretty good. But then we were expecting the sweet wheat to be better,
blow it out of the water.
and we were like,
It was so hyped. Everybody
kind of
loved
like the small batch. better.
Have you had any of the other 1792s, Harsha?
So I've actually had them all. I've had the 12. Well, I shouldn't say I've had them all because I know there's the Ridgemont ones and there's a few like ultra rare ones. But other than the ones that are like sort of in circulation as far as small batch goes, 12-year foolproof sweet wheat, I have had most of their expressions.
Okay.
Personally, I think I do agree with you. I think the 1792 small batch, the regular off-the-shelf offering, is a great pour for
For the price.
Yeah, it's like
below
30
$50
bucks.
price point.
Yeah.
I enjoy the sweet wheat. I personally prefer the bottled and bond.
Okay.
Okay.
And so you guys are pouring the foolproof, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So believe it or not, so this was actually my least favorite. This is my least favorite expression from them.
Wow.
Okay.
I think it's just too hot.
Really?
So
It is
I think
hot.
what you guys are doing is pretty great. Like letting it leave it open for a few months, days.
Yeah, I'm getting that heat on the
just letting
nose
some air
already.
in it and breathe.
Oh, so now you're giving Tony credit for open.
I mean,
okay.
that's my guy, man.
Okay. That's a nice way to clean it up.
Look,
Okay.
look at the bowl on this man's glass.
Yeah, see, that's a
Have
real.
you guys ever seen these?
See, I saw that you were talking about them and had them advertised. I'm gonna have to find out
Looks like an science
the
experiment.
plug on that.
Right.
Get one of
Well,
those.
so I mean, I'll tell you guys what. I'll be a plug. I bought 10 cases of from.
Oh,
Wow.
all right.
So
Okay.
these are the 1920s blenders glasses.
Okay.
And again, the gentleman I bought them from was when we were in Vegas. He is the importer, I guess, distributor for the United States. So these were glasses that were being used back in the day in the Scottish distillery. And I guess over time they kind of just like the distillery closed, if I'm not mistaken, and they kind of just forgot about them. And about, let's just call it, say, early 2000s, the people that used to own the whiskey exchange, they kind of came across the glass, and then they ended up patenting the glass and kind of bringing it back and blowing it up. And I just have to say, so since I kind of came across these glasses, I cannot drink from anything other than these glasses.
It's like Cal with his tumbler.
I personally call these like voodoo glasses. That either makes what you're drinking, it brings out all the beautiful qualities in it, or it like brings out all the crappy, shitty qualities in it.
Yeah.
So it's either gonna make the juice better than what it is, or if it's like shitty juice,
It's just gonna, it's gonna highlight the crap. Trash.
exactly.
Okay.
It's
All
like
right, so
it's a flashlight on the.
we'll have to talk to you about that when we come up. Maybe see
Yeah,
about
man.
getting some of those. That's awesome. So what do you guys think on the nose on this?
I mean, you can definitely smell the heat,
Yeah, I'm getting heat. I'm getting a lot of herb.
but you can smell the flavor behind the
It's
heat.
got the
Yeah.
sweetness.
It's definitely got some sweetness to it.
Yeah.
I'm getting some of the similar notes outside of the the oak, and I'm getting a little bit of cinnamon. I'm getting some light fruity notes. It's light. It's subtle in the back.
It's kind of muted for me. I'm getting some earth like tones on
Earthy.
here.
Oh, it's muted by the smell of the heat.
Yeah, that's
It's got
Exactly.
that's that.
Yeah.
That's my point. It's
That
the
foolproof.
heat overpowers everything else that's in it. So it's got beautiful notes, but it's like the heat is all that comes in on the
Yeah.
nose and palate, and that's what I'm not a fan of.
Got you.
Yeah, mouth is ajar, and I'm still getting sin.
There's rule.
It's like,
But
if
I mean, that's when you just add a little bit of water and you're good to go.
little droplet.
Water
Throw
would probably
ice
help it a
cube.
little bit. Yeah, that's true.
I'm getting some cocoa notes on this one too.
Cocoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a
Little singes.
just like fire in my nostrils.
Are we ready to go on the
Yeah,
taste? Did you
went-
taste already?
I went in already.
Are you regretting it?
Oh man.
What's your guys' take on 1792 foolproof?
Well, this is my first time actually.
It's my first time as well.
And so my initial note is hot lava. So you definitely have to prime your palate for this one to actually try to pick up the notes.
Wow.
Temperatures
rising. Let me stop.
I will say this. Having had this before, like on a fresh crack, and like it was super overwhelming having it then.
Yep.
The fact that it sat out a little bit more and aired out a little bit now, it's more palatable now. It's still overpowering. For me, the heat is like the thing you're left when walking away from it, and it overpowers all the other notes in it.
Yeah.
But it's better than it was for sure.
It's kind of like that, like sweet chicken versus spicy chicken. Like it's too spicy, you can't enjoy the flavor. It's just so hot.
Are you using Bonchon potables?
I didn't want to say bonchon, but I'm getting that exact like why I hate spicy bonchon. 'Cause I can't enjoy the flavor.
This
is like it's hot, but I get those hints of something there that I like. But it's so hot.
Yo, here's the tagline: 1792 foolproof. I'm here. I'm here.
Here.
Yo, it's here. You're gonna know it's here too the moment you
Or
hit that palate.
coming in hot. I think this is begging for an ice cube.
Yeah, this
I think you throw an ice cube in this joint.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could sip on this all day.
Tone. This is Draymond Green in the paint.
Wow.
This is Draymond punching Jordan.
This is a winter bourbon right here, man.
This is Draymond when you talking shit to him at practice. Punch you in the face.
It's hot, man. All right. Does anybody want to get some pours?
Does Hirsch know about our rating? Did we talk to him about our rating? What we do?
Well, yeah, he's about to find out.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, we actually have a 5-ounce rating.
Yes.
When we actually review whiskeys, and so on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. 1 ounce pour is one and done. You pour it, you're one and done, don't want it anymore. 2 is cocktail anyone?
Yes.
Like it needs to be mixed with something perhaps. 3 is I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I can certainly have it. 4, give me more.
Keep it coming.
5, a steady pour.
Yeah.
I like that.
Appreciate you, Brody.
So who wants to go first? How much of a pour are you giving this tone?
Let's say a 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's things like you could taste underneath the heat that there is some good things about it, but the heat's too overwhelming for me. I don't think it's anywhere near like any of the worst things that we've had or like something that like disgusting. But it's I just think the heat is not balanced at all. It's just an overwhelming punch, and it's too bad because some of the other notes are kind of nice that you can kind of get behind it, which is in some of the other offerings. So,
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm right. Yeah.
I agree. Actually, I would even go
Lower.
I was gonna say 2.5 also, but because I'm thinking you drop an ice cube in this, you let it kind of sit, it'd be pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
I threw some water in this joint.
Didn't help it.
It does help it, but not as much as I was hoping it was going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You need some ice.
I'm still dropping water in this
You
thing.
need the ice.
Maybe it's the ice. Maybe the cooling effect would
Yeah.
also help with the dilution. Yeah, sure, maybe. But as it stands right now, 2.25.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will have to agree with you, Cal. I'm giving this a 2.25 ounce pour. This is definitely getting an ice cube, a nice big one.
Yes, solid.
Yes, it's gonna be sitting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flavor behind the heat.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's behind the heat. And so we
Way behind.
Way back.
Somewhere in there.
so I think an ice cube would certainly be nice with this.
Nice.
This is like winter storm ready. Like if I'm in like
Oh, this is
a
a winter
blizzard,
pour. Yeah.
if I'm in a winter wonderland somewhere and I need something to heat me up,
Yeah.
I'm grabbing this bottle. For that reason, I do like that because it has that heat. I don't think I've had something that heated me up to this degree, and I enjoy that. But that's why it's rating so hard. So I probably would give it a 2.75.
I knew you was gonna say 7.
Because I'm close to not
likes the
being
heat,
mad
though.
at it, but I'm a little mad at it because right now I don't want that heat because I'm a little hot already. But this is a wintertime bourbon for sure because I can see myself grabbing this when I'm just a little chilly.
Like the dead of winter.
Yes,
You're about
I'm
to
out.
go shovel some snow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your rating, Harsha?
Am I rating this like as far as rating goes? Am I rating it my personal preference, or am I rating this as a like from the view of a consumer?
But both. Both.
right, so if I was
Matter of
to rate
fact,
this-
afterwards, I also want you to explain why, as a store owner,
Yeah.
you would make that distinction.
That's a good
So go
question.
ahead.
Okay, so personally, again, personal preference. This is a 1 for me. This bottle's been open for 2 years. The fact that it's still going, and again, this is not me drinking it. This is me pouring customers who like when we do tastings at the store, and when we're trying to like what we did with you guys when we came in, we're just like trying trying different things.
Yeah.
And when we have customers who come in who are just getting into bourbon or who want to try different things, because one of the things that we always get is like, oh, do you guys have Blanton's? Do you guys have Buffalo Trace? Do you guys have Eagle Rare? And the thing is like, well, I'm like, we don't, but I'm like, we can get it for you. Or what is it that you like about them? They're like, well, my friend said Buffalo Trace is great. My friend said Blanton's is good. I was like, oh, like I've had it so and so. Like it's the best thing I've ever had. I'm like, well, I'm like, so when we do that, that's pretty much when I bring these bottles out. But for me, as a personal preference, it's a 1. I'm not a fan of it. Like you said, it's just too hot. The heat on the nose and the palate overtakes and overwhelms like all the. There's some beautiful qualities in there, but like you said, it's so subdued that you have to look, you have to find them. Which I'm like at that point, if I'm working so hard, dude, like it's time to move on. But as far in the eyes of consumer, I do see why like someone might like it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like it's like in the like that's a great winter pour. Like when you're like out shoveling snow and if you want to just come in and quick warm your body up,
Yes. Yeah.
make a 2 ounce pour of that. And that will just that will like, get you right back into
Real
room
quick.
temperature.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
So okay, we're giving it a higher rating because of functional use.
Right. It's function over form.
That's interesting. I guess as a liquor store owner, you have to kind of make that distinction between personally and what the consumer would actually like or
Enjoy, yeah.
would enjoy.
Well, so you guys have had a few of my picks by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the tougher things to do as a store that does bourbon picks or barrel picks, I should say per se, is trying to like differentiate. Am I buying this for myself or am I buying this for the bigger mass, which being the customer base? And I've made that mistake earlier on in our barrel picking career, if you want to call it that. Where I was basing it off of things that I liked. And I was quick to learn when you have like X amount of thousands of dollars like locked up in these barrels. I was like, oh wait, shit! I'm not picking this because I'm drinking it. I'm picking this because whatever people want to drink. And that's pretty much when we kind of changed our game model, and we started kind of like the way we started doing things. And our big thing when we do barrel picks is like quality over quantity. It's gotta really blow my socks off for me to put my name on it. And then one of the things that when we do these picks is like you guys have had our Blantons. That was a true honey barrel. That Blanton was like pure gold. And so just kind of like go off of this foolproof, which is the off the shelf offering. We've done a single barrel version of the foolproof that we released about 2 weeks ago now, I think.
Okay.
And this 1792 is off profile to this. This 1792 being foolproof, being at 125 proof, just like the other one. This does not drink at 125 proof. This actually drinks, I want to say, somewhere between the 100 to 110 proof.
Wow. Oh,
And then on top of that, it drinks more like a sweet wheat. It is super sweet. It's got a ton of caramel. It's got a ton of red fruit. And then actually we tried this morning when Tony and I were talking about this. I was like, I haven't tried this since I opened it a couple of weeks ago. So I went back and tried it. Now it actually's got a beautiful floral perfume note to it.
Wow. I'm excited for that.
So that's my thing. So when I do my picks, I tend to go for that off-profile pick, but not to a point where like it completely is like to the left of what the barrel should be. I want people to know that they're still drinking that said product, but I want them to get my take of it.
Okay.
Got you.
So you mentioned in terms of things that you would do, you said your business model changed or like your model changed in terms of how you went about picking single barrels. How do you make sure that it's different rather than what necessarily you like versus what the customer like? Like what are you doing differently or what metrics or what are you tasting?
That was
What's your
more or less
process?
the question that I was gonna have for you is like, what do you find is the notes that you're like, okay, my customer base notes are leaning more towards this. So
is it notes? Is it I got to make sure that when I do the barrel picks, I got to bring customers with me or customers that I know that will come with me, or is it I got to look for something like you mentioned before, off profile from what I'm. So what is it? What are those the metrics?
Well, those are actually all part of the things that we do kind of go for. And then the other thing is I also say no a lot. Like I don't just because I was offered said sample sets or if I'm well, it's hard to do when you're at in Kentucky at some of these legacy distillers because they don't like you to say no. But like when so say set supplier or distro like provides me with set of samples. And if the samples are not good, I'm just gonna say no. And I don't need to do picks. Like I always tell people, I'm in the liquor industry. I'm not in the barrel industry. I'm not in the bourbon industry. My business model is not to do barrel picks. My business model is to like be a liquor store owner that kind of gives you everything, beer, wine, and spirits. So we do say no a lot more than that we say yes. But going back to as far as like the criteria that we use when we do the barrel picks, so that is so I do like to go for that. So off profile pick. So one of the things I always do is like you guys have had my Eagle Rare.
I immediately thought of that when you said off profile.
That's how we learned about you. Actually,
Actually,
who is
one of
Beverage
us?
King?
One of us hasn't.
Oh yeah, I was in there. That would be me.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't have any more either anymore.
That doesn't make me feel better.
No,
there's an event that happened once a year that we were excited to attend with other fellow whiskey drinkers, and we're in Kentucky sitting around this long table full of whiskeys, and the Eagle Rare pick comes out, and everyone was just like, "What is this?" It
killed everything.
It killed everything.
Yeah, it may have been the best bottle any of us had on the trip, which is, I mean, in the rankings.
I don't know if that's true for me, but it was definitely up there. It was definitely top 5, and we had tens of bottles that whole trip.
Yeah.
People were. I think I told you about this, Harsha. I have a photo of somebody, the silverback from Black and Brown,
trying to get the last 2 drops.
Literally trying to get every single last drop. So yeah, shout out to Justin. It's Only Bourbon. He's the one who brought that pick, and he's like,
ain't he from Texas? That's crazy. Yeah, he came from Texas. He got a Connecticut barrel pick. Brought it to Kentucky.
Yep.
And us from Jersey, right next to Connecticut, had to go to Kentucky to taste it.
But now we know who he is. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, that pick was unreal. Because we like Eagle Rare to begin with.
Yeah.
But that was.
That's the thing, guys. Yeah. I'm not an Eagle Rare fan. If it makes
wow.
like to be honest, so I'm not an Eagle Rare fan. So do you want to hear something funny when we made that pick?
Yeah.
So we had 3 sample bottles, right? Mm-hmm. And we along with those 3 samples that we got, we had 2 off-the-shelf offerings and 6 other store picks of Eagle Rare store picks locally and some from out of state. Along with it, so altogether we had 6, 8, 11 bottles of between our 3 samples and everything. We had 11 different Eagle Rare bottles in front of us that we were going back and forth for about 2 weeks before we made our decision. Because one of the things that I get in Eagle is a lot of oak and that tannin. Cherry tannin note right in the back end.
Yes, definitely.
Which personally, I'm not a fan of cherries. I don't like cherries. So I'm not a fan of Eagle Rare. So we were doing this whole back and forth thing where so again, when I say we, it was me, myself, my buddy Nick, who you guys have met, Dave, and Craig, who you guys also met. So we were over a 2-week period, we kept going back and forth. Deciding on and we were eliminating, mind you, we were also kind of using the store picks and the regular off-the-shelf offering as our base medium to see what it is that we liked and didn't like off of those bottles, and we were kind of using that as our metric to go off of our samples, and from there we were eliminating or adding which pick we wanted to go with, and it took us about 2 weeks to kind of come to our conclusion.
Wow. That's a lot longer than a usual barrel pick. Usually pick it out, that day or within some hours. So
yeah.
Well, so I do that because I actually learned this from another store owner locally, Patrick, over at Harry's Wine Spirits.
Oh yeah, okay.
So yeah, I learned. So when these bottles come to us, right? So you have to realize they're either being mailed to the distro or they're being couriered or somehow, and then they're they're sitting in a hot car or a plane or truck or train, and then the distro is getting it to us. So they're so bottle shook that they're kind of all over the place. So when I try them I never try to base my decision off the first try, because trying it for the first time to kind of letting it rest, just like how the 1792, Tony, when you open it to trying it today, it definitely has gotten better. Not leaps and bounds, but it's gotten better. It's not super hot as you remembered. So I like to see what these bottles taste like initially, and then kind of go back to it over time. let it be a couple of days later or like a week later, or in the case of Eagle Rare, like going back and forth over a 2 week period before making my final say, because there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? There's that which I just mentioned with the bottles being shell shocked, and then there's also, depending on what you ate that day, your palate, and
Yeah.
like again, I'm a firm believer that like you got to be in the mood for a certain whiskey.
Yeah.
If
We were just
We were just talking about. I was just saying it. We were just talking about
we were
that.
just talking
yeah,
about
so that's why. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Do you ever
It's
get
not
like?
all just like, oh, it's like trying three. I'm like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
one.
Do you get like rushed from from the whoever you're getting the juice from? Like, yeah, we gotta get your pick in. Like, do you feel like rushed in any way, or that you're being pushed to make a decision before you want to any times, or?
Yes and no. I
Okay.
think the distros have kind of figured it out by now. It's like, you know what, if the samples are going to Harsha,
He's gonna take
it.
some
He's
time.
gonna
take his time.
take his time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's not gonna give us an answer right
Let it
away. And if it's
marinate.
something
Let it
where they're like,
marinate.
Okay.
yeah, and if it's something where like if there's someone in front of me that's like, oh yeah, try these and like tell me which one you want, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, you either leave the samples here or it's a no for me.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I like that.
That's right.
Well,
'Cause
you wanna
you're
hear
the one
something-
spending the
you wanna hear a
money,
funny story
so-
about this?
Sure.
Yes.
So when I picked this sample, you know what? There was actually, out of 3 samples that we tried, again, same concept, that same thing that we did with the Eagle, we did with the Blantons, we did with this. That's like my go-to. That's like my, if I'm like kind of like giving my secret away, like if I was like Colonel Sanders and giving my KFC secret away, that is my secret.
Okay.
So if there's other store owners who listen to this and they want to know how we do it, that's how we do it. But when we were doing this, there was actually something interesting that happened. Out of the 3 samples, all 3 were phenomenal.
Wow.
So one of the samples was pretty much what you'd expect to be
Yeah.
off the shelf.
Mhm.
And then there was this one which is super off profile, red fruit, like red fruit, like raspberries, like ton of red berries, caramel.
Good, right?
And now like you get a floral note, which I initially did not get when I picked this. And then there was sample number 3, which is this, but as I call it, on steroids. It was so full body, like the one, again, did not drink at the proof, but like it was such, like it had such an amazing body, like from start to finish. It coated your mouth. It was super silky, velvet. Like, I mean, it coats your mouth. It just sits on your palate, and as it's starting to like kind of taper off, it wants you to go back to that second sip. So I'm like, oh shit, this is actually that. I was like, I actually texted the distro manager back, and I told Phil, I'm like, Phil, I think this is probably one of my hardest picks I've done to date.
Wow.
And he goes, why? He goes, there's 3 really good samples. There's one, which is an easy cop out. Like, I mean, you'll just take it because it's what you'd expect 1792 to be.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 other ones. One is super off profile, and then the other one is 1792 on roids. So again, it took us about 2 weeks, and the funny thing is, I actually have a piece of paper somewhere. Depending on the day I tried with my notes, depending on the day I tried it, I was going back and forth between sample 2 and 3.
Wow.
I'm like, one day I'm like sample 2.
Wow.
Next day it's sample 3.
That's
Finally, we ended up going with the off-profile one.
okay.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, well, heck, yeah, I think you sold the heck out of that.
Now that you gave us the 7 herbs and spices.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I guess talk to us. So how long you been the store owner at Beverage King? Like how long? Like when did you get into the business?
7 years?
7 years. Okay.
Okay.
That's a while. Yeah.
And is it? Well, tell me. Have you always liked whiskey as much? Do you always lean towards whiskey as opposed to the other spirits that's in a liquor store, or is whiskey like your favorite spirit, or?
No, funny thing is, actually, when I bought the store, I think at that point, so the way we kind of bought the store was when I graduated college, I took a year off trying to figure out, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back to grad school or if I wanted to kind of my family's always been in the retail industry, kind of like help my family in what we do. So I think a year or a year and a half after I graduated college, the store next door to one of my other stores, being Beverage King, went up for sale. So we bought the store like off of whim. I'm like, everyone's had shitty Dubra and Jungle Juice and all sorts of crap in college. I'm like, how hard it could it be to run a liquor store? So we bought the store on my doing without knowing what I'd even run a liquor store. Wow. And then when I did buy the store, believe it or not, I was actually not drinking at that point. Again, this is coming out of college when you drink so much, like you're like at that point where like I just
You were worn
need
out.
to take a break. Yeah,
All you do is drink.
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so you were following the rules. You were like, don't get drunk off your own supply. Okay.
Yeah, so no, so I mean, wasn't drinking at the time, and I think, but Scotch actually was my go-to before even bourbon.
Interesting.
I was actually a Scotch drinker.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I think I actually got into bourbon just so one of the things that people always do is they drop off a bunch of sample bottles. Their customers, not when I say people. And like again, and then over time, it's just I'm like, let me try this, let me try that. Next thing you know, I'm like, I actually at that time before Scotch is doing what they're doing now with a lot of finished stuff and everything, and trying different experimental stuff. Bourbon was craft distillery movement was just trying to kind of build up, and like craft distilleries were starting to like do different things. And actually, I was like, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I'm like, I like this, I like that, and then I started kind of working on my own palate. And that's pretty much how I got into bourbon.
What was your first
I was gonna ask
store pick? Oh, was it?
Oh no, I
okay.
was gonna ask him that. Never mind.
Yeah, what was your first store pick? Like, what made you say like this is something I want to do? Put my own spin on some of the bourbons that people like, and how did that go? And then what did you learn on the next one that made you like take the journey on doing that?
Let me actually see if I have a bottle of my first store pick. Oh, I do.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Show and tell.
Exclusive. Exclusive.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Bringing it out.
So funny thing is, my first ever store pick. And you want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, we want you to lie to us.
This is mediocre, dude.
Is it?
There's nothing special about it.
Okay.
I got offered to do a Elijah Craig barrel.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And again, this was me. I'm like at that. So this is before barrel proof. So it's a small batch. I'm like, oh my god, Elijah Craig. I'm like, it's freaking amazing. I was like, oh, so I'll do it. And then I did it. And then, well, you guys know how I like to do stickers,
Yep.
Yes.
but I just don't do stickers just to do stickers. I like to tell a story through my sticker. So, being a big Brady
I
fan.
think you showed us this.
Oh my God. Throw it away.
Put it away.
Throw it away, bro. Throw it away. End the end the whole podcast
We
right now.
called it the goat pick
Oh.
because one being
Oh my god. Oh my god.
being a big Brady fan, and being my first ever store pick, I called it the goat pick.
Nice. Okay.
And then funny story is
Let him cook.
the barrel actually dropped. I got out, man. If memory serves me correct, the barrel actually dropped the week after Brady won his last Super Bowl with the Patriots.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So he
So-
excited.
So that,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that sounds about right. It's called the goat
When this
pick, but you
came
said there's
out-
nothing special about it.
It's all the system.
No.
It's all the system.
Yeah,
that's
so that's
cool,
pretty
man.
much that was my first pick, and that's pretty much how I got into it. And the other reason why I kind of did it was my buddy Michael, who you guys have never met, but I'm sure you guys follow him once. Tony, I know you know him because he's now running the RCC group.
That's right.
Michael Pittsburgh.
The Facebook group.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Michael.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was the one that kind of pushed me to do it.
Wow.
Do it,
nice.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Nice. All right. And did you say what the pick you did after that was, and what you may have learned from that first one and changed up? I'm just.
The pick I did after that, which
Is that shelf
We're back
dedicated
there.
just to your picks?
yeah, it's all mixed, dude. I have this thing where like I have temperamental OCD, like where like there's times when I'm like, oh my god, this is a mess, and like I clean it all up, and then like so like right now I have like 10 bras on my counter. I'm sorry, on my table, and then there's like, and then I just get tired and I put them back there, and it gets to be a mess again. And I leave it that way for a while, and I'm like, oh my god, it's messy again, and I go through a cycle.
Yeah.
Got you.
But the pick I did after that was actually another one that was also a quick sellout. We did a 7-year MGP rye from Barrel Bourbon.
Okay.
And
yeah.
if you're, and I don't know if I ever told you guys, but I love rye. So that
We
was
all
like
do.
That's Darius.
Yeah.
That's all
There
of
you
us
go.
now.
Definitely a rye crew.
Okay.
Dude, so this rye from MGP that we get different barrel, it was a bourbon drinker friendly rye. It drank more like a high rye bourbon than the rye
Yeah.
itself.
Nice.
So we did really well with that. That sold out really fast. And I think right after that is when I started like kind of acting stupid. I was like, you know what? So I think that's what it was. I think I sold 2 barrels back to back so quick. So I started like making some stupid decisions and picking random barrels.
You're like, I can't
Right.
be touched. Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
that's pretty much what it is, dude.
My palate is
I'm the
amazing.
king. I'm the best. Okay, let me.
You said you started off kind of in the Scotch favoring. Do you remember the first bourbon you tried that kind of made you think that like, oh, this is good. Let me dive deeper into this whole bourbon game.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I'm like, they're not funny, but I don't know. I keep saying they're funny, but you want to know want to know what the first bourbon I've ever had? And I
Yes.
actually overpaid for the damn thing.
Yes.
It was in Tennessee. The first year that we bought the liquor store, because everyone keeps us asking for us for blends, right? Mind you, at that point, I've never had Blanton's. We were in Tennessee with a bunch of my college friends. We were at some dive bar in some shitty part of Tennessee, in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think that given round, I was like, guys, I got this. So I'm like, everyone bought what they wanted. I got a pour of Blanton's. And to make it even worse, she gave it to me like it was like a rocks glass full of ice
Oh my
with
god.
a 1 ounce pour of Blanton's, and I tried it. I'm like, eh. So mind you, it was only 93 proof, and then it's probably watered down to 50 proof at that point.
Wow.
Yeah,
Doing
so
it all
I tried
wrong.
it, and I was like, it was so underwhelming. I'm like, yeah, I don't get the whole hype about this.
She messed it up for you.
Comes time to pay the bill. It was like $200 and something.
Oh my god.
Right? And I'm like going off, and my friends like, "What the fuck did you guys buy?" I'm like, "What? Are you guys crazy?" Then I look at my thing. My pour of Blanton's was $48.
What?
Oh. It was a
That's
quarter of
exactly
the
what I said.
bill.
I go to the lady, I'm like, I could have bought a bottle for this.
What year was this?
This was in 2016.
That's wild.
Jesus.
That's wild. Now I could see.
No.
No, I mean some places how Blanton is. You don't think you could see?
No. I've only seen Blanton's as high
I guess
as
maybe 30.
20.
When
No,
you
I've seen it higher
say
than that.
can I see? Yes, because people are and are greedy. But could I see me ever
Oh
consider?
no. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm just saying I could see some place trying to charge that.
Well,
Maybe in the city.
But what if it's like you just hear people asking about it, talking about it. You haven't had it yet.
Right.
You finally see it on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the price on it at the time.
You ask. Period. Turn the
Nah,
page.
You gotta act like,
Turn the page.
Not
you
everybody
ask.
does that.
But even if you do see the price on it, you're like, oh, everyone keeps talking about this. It must be worth it.
$48 for a 1 ounce pour full of ice.
I mean, don't get me
ice.
wrong. $48 is still cheaper than if you're in New Jersey, the
Valid.
likelihood you're
Yeah.
talking at least $1.50, like $1.59. So yeah, it gives you the chance
what
to
they
kind
go
of
for?
like taste it, huh?
Is that what they go for in your neck of the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
At least that's probably on the lower end.
It's ridiculous.
Most people have it like $1.99 on the shelf.
I've seen it in New York for like $300.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
that's
insane.
wild.
I'm
That's
like,
New York.
Bro, it's just going to sit on the shelf.
Somebody gonna buy
So
it.
somebody might buy it for sure. Not me though.
No, not the kid.
What was your thinking in getting the Blanton's pick? Like what was your goal going into that? Were you trying to find something that like I guess you did that on all of your picks, but try to find an off profile thing on that as well? Because I mean it's really
When I was going into Bland's pick, our thinking was trying to find. So I actually love the straight from the barrel. So and I just think blends at 93 proof is kind of like low proof. So when we were doing when we were doing our blends in Spic, I was going for something that would drink more like full body or like that had more depth to it than the regular off the shelf blends at 93 proof.
I feel like I'm being peer pressured to open up my bottle of blends.
Yeah,
You are being peer pressured.
This is the perfect moment. We're talking
Is
with
it?
the
Is
guy.
it? First of all, Mister, let me open up my bottles by myself. You can stay quiet.
Open it.
Has Darius had it? I don't even know if Darius has had it.
You guys have had it before?
No, not his pick.
Oh,
Have you ever had blends? Period.
I've had blends before,
okay.
but yeah, I've definitely had blends before.
Right,
What were you asking, Tony? Does Darius have blends?
No, I was saying, has he had Harsha's pick?
Nobody.
Oh, nobody has that.
Well, I have.
no,
You
Tony's
had your.
Yeah, he had. Yeah.
Wait, yours
He
at?
also tried it at his store.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
We did. We did have it as.
Among a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Right. There was a lot of
If you're
other
drinking
things.
now, drink this.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
the.
hey, when we come down to the bunker, I mean, you know.
Open it
All
up.
right, I'll tell you what. Yeah, if Tony opens that bottle.
It's my bottle, so Tony better not
I
open
will
it.
open this
Oh, wait,
bottle.
we
Don't-
bottle. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Tony's bottle.
That's my
No,
bottle.
my bottle's open. My bottle's about half gone. I'm trying to.
Which is why I wish he would have just brought his
Self.
bottle.
By himself.
Come on, Cal.
Ah, fine. Give me.
The precious.
You're gonna open it. I shouldn't have poured more of that foolproof.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You wild.
I did
You
not.
wild.
I didn't know you were gonna open that,
He's a
bro.
wild boy. I don't know what to tell
I
you.
might have to spit this out for the first time in history. You got to spit.
Oh, look, he's
Oh,
he's
I
going
was about to
straight
say.
from the barrel. Look at that.
We got to get this on camera. Yeah, the precious. I like the sticker.
The way
on
he
it.
just threw it down, like, disgusted.
Hold on, let me clean my glass for this one.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Can I pour it? Can I use one of your glasses, too? I'm about to
Yeah,
pour
go
this
get
in.
it.
Go put that in your gas tank.
Straight ethanol.
Bro, I'll be hitting the nitro tonight. Easy.
You know, the Fast Furious.
Go, 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 go.
Oh man, that sounded so good. That sounded delicious. Just the way it poured.
So what's your thoughts on being the owner of a liquor store? Like some of the trends that you see going on, some of the allocated bottles that because we've talked about this, where there's versions of some of those allocated bottles that sit on the shelves that people just walk right past and they go towards the things they heard about, or the Blantons, the high shelf stuff. What's your thoughts on that in general, and like what do you try and steer people towards in your store?
So when let me see if I got you. So are you trying to say so if someone comes in looking for an allocated bottle in the store,
Right.
Are you asking me what do I steer them towards, and is that what you're asking me?
Assuming you don't have that bottle.
Right. Yeah. Do you try and like say, well, I don't have that.
If you like this, you might like.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the thing, and you guys have seen all the open bottles I have upstairs. So what I do is, if someone's looking for a rye, have you guys ever had the rare breed,
Yep.
just a regular rye?
Yeah.
Such a bang for your buck kind of bottle.
It is.
So we have like mostly one of, like, I'm not gonna say everything open, but like bottles that I think people should have on every bar just as a daily sipper. Because guys, like honestly, like, I mean, I'm just gonna use this, but we're not gonna be drinking either a high proof such as this or like some of our like unicorn bottles every day.
Right.
Those are like meant for special occasions or like when you feel like you want to drink it, right? So like there's certain bottles that I think everyone should have and try. So I do have those bottles open. So so one of my first questions I'd ask them is like, well, whatever, depending on the bottle that they're looking for, I'm like, what is it that you like about that bottle and stuff of sort. And then from there we try to like narrow it down. And then I was like, well, I'm like, I don't have that at the time being, but I'm like, how about do you want to try this? If they try and they like it, boom, sale.
Nice.
Or if I don't have it, and if I can get it, because every once in a while we'll get that call. I'm like, hey, you guys have a Pappy 23? Like, do you think you could get me some? I was like, I'm looking for like 2 to 3. I'm like, yeah, no. Again, so it's like when you get those calls, it's like you automatically know, right? It's like the person who's making that call, they're new to the whole whiskey game. They don't know
Right.
the whole how the whole allocation system works and what goes into it.
Right.
They heard somebody, or they're probably saw it on the forum or one of the Facebook groups about so and so. They're like, oh yeah, that shouldn't be that hard. I'll just go to my local liquor store and get it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And then, well, so that's the other thing, guys, and that's the reason why I think before we started the podcast, I was mentioning about the whole allocation thing and whatnot.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, the secondary market. When you asked me what if I were to do my own podcast, what would be my first episode? I'd mentioned it would be secondary market, right? It's like there's and if there's one thing that COVID did, it kind of upped the amount of new bourbon drinkers
Yep.
who are so new to the game, and it kind of happened during a time when everyone was working out of their homes,
Yeah.
and even though technically they should be working, their laptop was probably left on a YouTube video while they're out there hunting for bourbon.
Drinking on the job.
Yeah, exactly. So all they kind of knew at the time being was allocated bourbon. So like when there were so many more people out there searching for these bottles, and half these guys or gals were like, if they were new into the bourbon scene, they were chasing these said bottles because a buddy of theirs told them it's great, or like they heard somebody on a YouTube channel, or even hell, like a podcast like such as yours talking about it, but not knowing what it goes to kind of acquire that said bottle. Like it takes relationships, and everyone's got their own way of doing it. But every once in a while, they'll get lucky and they'll find that bottle in that said store, hoping that's retail and they get it. Great, but 9 out of 10 times that's not the case. If it's been sitting there for however long, more than it should be sitting, it's probably priced over retail. So this said person, not knowing what retail is on that bottle, they might be like, "Oh my God, I finally found it!" Like you said, Blanton's in Jersey's going for $150 to $200. Now you guys know that's not what Blanton should be going for, so you guys will pass up on it. But that new bourbon drinker is not gonna know it, and they'll see that price is like, "Oh my God, finally found my unicorn. Let me buy it."
Yep.
And then when
Take
they
my
buy it,
money.
they finally get to try it. They're like, it doesn't meet my standards, or live up to my expectations. Is a better way of saying it.
Gotcha.
So what you're saying is allocated bottles are like the cryptocurrency of liquor, because all of a sudden,
what it's turning into.
yeah, all of a sudden during the pandemic, everybody wanted to get into it.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a quick example. Like, this is a fun part, right? This is why I love being one of the secondary groups. So I don't like indulge in the secondary group, but I love being there and just to kind of see, one, if my balls end up showing up there, and two, like just to kind of like see where the market's kind of like going towards. So during peak COVID, like the whole BTAC Pappy lineup, they actually went a lot higher than what their normal range was. Again, since then it's kind of like tapered down, but because like again, it's just the demand was so high and the supply wasn't there to meet the demand, that the second people were capitalizing on the secondary market and people were paying for it. But
I believe it.
since then, like I think those said same people have kind of realized what it is that they like and what is it that they don't like, and are kind of like coming back to reality. But yeah, like I think that sucks, but like bourbon at the stage that it's in is fetching some absurd values on secondary.
You think it's on its way in general? Do you think the secondary market at this point is kind of hit a plateau and is kind of starting to level out, or do you think it's still on the rise?
I don't think so. So I don't think it's as plateaued. So, and we saw a great example in the last week to week and a half, right? A distillery out of New Jersey. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we do.
That would be released a bottle of their Rio, which was a blend of honey and Ambrania casks blended, and in the last week, only a handful of states received their allocation. That bottle retails for, I want to say, $89.99, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
About that, yeah.
Yes.
So as soon as those few couple of states got their allocations, again, it wasn't much. So talking to Mike, I think most states only got anywhere from 10 to 26 packs. So you're talking about anywhere from 60 to 120 bottles.
It's wild.
Wow.
So this was again before their whole distribution network got their allocation. This was only when only a couple of states got their allocations, right? So that bottle, when the first handful of bottles hit the secondary market, they were going for $200, and they were being bent instantly. Like before you can even refresh your page, that was gone.
Wow.
It was up. Someone bought it, gone.
Wow.
Then a day after, I forgot what page it was on, but somebody, like some brave soul, upped the ante, and they posted it for 300.
Gone.
Sold right away. Next thing you know, they started going for 400.
Jesus.
Same thing, gone. Now what has happened is, I think if I'm not mistaken, Texas, Georgia, and some of the bigger states, they started getting their Rio allocations in. So now it's, when I say readily available, there's a lot more of it compared to a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now those numbers have slowly been tapering down. But when I say tapering down, but actually before jumping on this podcast, I was on a secondary page. They're going for $275. Again, still not retail, but not 400. So, and
Right.
based on what I saw, most of the posts I saw, 275 is the going rate now. So do I think secondary is like has it a plateau or is on the downturn? No, I think it's back to where it should be. When I say back to where it should be, it's back to the numbers that we've seen pre-COVID
Yeah.
that everyone
Okay.
was paying for.
Well, that's kind of what I meant by downturn. It's more of like a leveling off. It's gotten back to.
I think it's back to. It's not at that craze that we've seen during COVID.
Gotcha. Okay.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into the liquor store game? What advice would you give them?
What advice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude. I mean, shoot. I actually
Find
that's a
one for
question
sale.
someone. I need some advice because there's times when I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I need to.
You're
I
doing
need to,
something
kind of
right.
give it
Doing,
up.
yeah, exactly. Whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah.
No, dude. It's a so. I don't know. I mean, that's I don't know. I've only been doing this for 7 years, and it's like I kind of got into it because I thought it was something easy to do. Real quick, that is not.
It'll sell itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was literally my way of thinking. But no, and then since then, there's ups and downs. I love doing what I do, just because I'm also one of those guys where I cannot do a 9 to 5. I cannot sit behind a computer. I get bored really easily in general in life. I
Yeah.
need challenges. I need to do different things. I need to kind of like chaos brings me happiness, if that makes sense. I cannot have a set schedule. I need to run around. I need shit thrown in my way where when you think you have your day scheduled, I need those obstacles coming. I'm like, oh wait, damn, this came out of nowhere. I like doing that. And again, I think I'd mentioned to you guys, like, this is not like my family and we own other businesses too. So I like kind of juggling all those different things.
Nice.
But as far as getting into liquor industry goes, it takes time, just like anything. There's no easy answers or shortcuts in life. The same thing goes with the liquor industry. Like if you want to build something and like actually grow it organically, it takes time and effort and sweat.
Yeah.
You just can't expect to go into it like I did as a naive 20-something-year-old thinking it's easy. Yeah.
Well, those 9 to 5 computer guys are your customers that are hanging out at your store for like 3 hours.
That's true. Pretty much. Yeah. Wow.
I thought that was I don't know. I thought that was so, like, when we came up to your store, like, it was a hangout spot. We definitely, we were tasting some of the picks. We were talking about whiskey. We were meeting some of your customers that were also into whiskey, and we were just meeting. It was you know,
If you didn't have to get rid of shelf space, you definitely need like a couch, some sort
A
of
lounge.
lounge setup in there.
So that's interesting point they brought up, right? So yeah, so believe it or not, so most of our like my how do I say? So in my personal life, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I'm like a homebody. Don't like to. If my wife's like, okay, we get to go out, do all these things, or we just get to stay home, watch movies or watch TV. I'm like home all day.
Stay home.
So she goes and she always my wife always goes. I'm like, but like when you're doing your social media lives or when you're in store, like you're like such a chatty box. Like you don't shut the f- up. Going on and on. I'm like, but that's the thing. That I like what I do. I love what I do. Actually, I should say. So and that's the thing. Like so when we do what we did when you guys came in, and that's pretty much how I met most of my like bourbon clients who kind of turned into my like close friends now. Is just doing what we did with you guys, right? It's just like I might have been chatting with a customer or two, and then someone else walks in. Next thing you know, and that actually went to kind of build relationships amongst those people. Funny how my wife actually brought this up because earlier today, Dave, Nick, and Craig were actually over. And like when my wife called, I was telling her like those guys were over. And later when my wife and I were talking, she goes, "Oh yeah, how do those guys know each other?" I was like, "Well, I knew Craig through Mike, who I kind of ran into the store, and then Craig met me through Mike, and then I met Nick, and then Dave met Nick, and then it's like these connections were built
right.
from just hanging out at the store and just talking about whiskey."
Yeah.
So yeah, and as far as the shelf space goes, I was telling my landlord, dude, I'm like, if our next door neighbor ever leaves again, I hope they don't. I hope they're gonna be hella successful. But I was telling him I'd be totally down for taking over that space. I would love to expand the store, but not for more floor space for the like more alcohol. I would love to kind of actually convert what I have down here upstairs
Right.
and just do what you guys are doing now, like just do like a podcast or a chill and just kind of entertain customers and do like a whiskey room.
Right.
That would be awesome.
Sounds like you also need this man's T-shirt too.
Yeah, because it says introverted but willing to discuss bourbon.
I like that, dude. I need that shirt.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
that's crazy. I'm like, that was is that like one of your guys' shirt? Like, did you guys or?
I wish.
Yeah, I wish. No, we actually picked it up out of Wilderness Trail when we went to the distillery. They had this shirt, so this is actually a Wilderness Trail.
I am not
Logo.
opposed to making our own version of that shirt though.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, if anything, like hell, ask Frank for help.
No, we will not ask Frank.
Well,
Fucking
it'll
Frank.
Say,
All right.
It'll say introverted but got a bourbon podcast.
Yeah, I like that. Oh man.
Yeah. Are there any distilleries that you feel should get more recognition than what they actually have? Like,
That's a good
That's
question.
a good question.
any underdogs that you're like, man, these guys are doing a lot of good things. They should get more recognition for what we're doing.
So can I just say that I will answer that question, but before I get to that, the shirt that the distillery that you're wearing that shirt from,
Yeah.
Wilderness Trail,
Yeah.
Campari bought them for a reason.
Yeah.
And those guys are super low key, but what they're doing right now,
Talk about
they're
it.
killing it.
Yeah.
And I think give them like another year or two, they're just gonna be like the hot. Like when I say not that they're not now, but I think that's gonna be a mainstream brand where that's gonna be the bottle. Like just like people come in now, they're looking for that Sazerac bottle. That's gonna be Wilderness Trail. They put out consistently. They put out amazing juice, and it's not like it's one of those bottles where you're not gonna buy it thinking it's like, oh, am I gonna like this or not? Let it be their weeder, their straight bourbon, or their rye. You know that you're gonna get an amazing product that you're gonna actually enjoy.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I think the distilleries that are kind of out there and like that kind of made it are like popular for a reason. They did something right, and again, let that be either marketing or let that be that they're putting out great juice. Like you guys know, what a big staunch supporter of Starlight.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh yeah.
Like I love the Hubers, Christian, Blake, and the whole family. They're amazing people, and they've been doing great stuff out there. And I think they've kind of revolutionized the whole finished product scene. I had this big thing before kind of coming across Starlight where I thought like if a said bourbon or whiskey is finished in something, I thought I had this stigma or this thing attached that was like the initial product was bad and they were trying to use that finished barrel to
Mask it.
mask the impurities.
Mm-hmm.
Until I came across Starlight and I met Christian for the first time, and now I'm like, dude, you're like a mad scientist. You have crazy behind the scenes reasonings going on to finish said bourbon or rye in said barrel. And then on top of that, you take it to a step further. It's like, oh, no, we tried this with our so-and-so mash bill. It didn't work out. Let's try it with this. So he really is like he's like that mad scientist, and they tried different things, and they again same thing. They're not afraid to like not put a product out just because it's not good. Versus some distilleries are like, oh, we have our time, money, and juice invested into this. We have to do it, even if it's not good.
Interesting.
Right.
So, what's on the horizon for Beverage King? You got any store picks coming up that you're going to, and which ones you inviting us out to?
That's the question.
Dude, I
right
mean,
there.
you guys always have you guys are always welcome to join me on picks. But as far as what I have on the horizon, so bad. This is I actually don't have the bottle in front of me, but a while back, we actually blended our own Penelope Architect
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
over at Penelope. So the thought process going into that blend was I love the Maker's Wood Finish series, even though some of them have been misses more than hits. One of my favorite one was the FAE series from a couple of years ago. So we tried to recreate that blend. And I think we kind of achieved that with our Penelope Architect blend.
Okay.
Yeah, wow.
And then we took it a step further, and I'd have the bottle upstairs, but we posted a teaser on it on our Instagram page a while back. We created that Maker's Wood sticker. So we're calling it the P46 French
I like it.
Yeah.
with the state profile printed on it.
Okay.
So there's that's going to be dropping soon, if not towards the end of this month, early next month.
Okay.
And then the only other barrels that are kind of on the horizon that have been picked already would be from Rare Character.
Yes.
Whoa. Nice.
Yeah.
Talk about
Talk
okay.
about that.
Yeah.
So we are gonna be the first store in Connecticut to be doing a Rare Character pick. So we actually have a few barrels picked out. So Patrick from Harry's and I are gonna be collaborating on a couple. We have 7.5 year straight high rye bourbon coming in.
Okay.
And then Patrick and I are also collaborating on a 14-year Kentucky malt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I actually went ahead and did my own of the high rye bourbon in December. You guys are familiar with our Blanks for Bourbon program that we do for Open Doors.
I was going to ask you more about that too, but yeah.
So we actually did a Amberania barrel dedicated for Blankets for Bourbon to support Open Doors, and it's so cool that the folks at RC were able to. So that's actually a mural that's painted on the outside of the Open Doors building in South Norwalk.
Whoa.
So they were actually able to put the mural on the bottle.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
That's what's up.
Fire. Yeah,
Yeah,
some of the
that's
artwork
fire.
they do is crazy. You know? It's
100%.
really cool how they
Very
Yeah,
customize
so
that.
that's gonna be our That's gonna be our charity barrel for this year's Blanks of Bourbon. So just like years past, like I know we've always done Starlight bottles in the past, where so how we kind of do is we kind of dedicate one barrel to go to open doors. So we whatever the set price in that bottle is, we donate all the proceeds from that bottle or from that barrel to open doors. So this year is going to be that RC and Branya.
That's awesome,
See,
man.
that's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
I love that.
And that's actually where I met you in person for the first time was donating to that and then randomly winning a raffle in that. And yeah, just seeing everything that you did in that and you know, the charity that it was going to and that you were giving it to people in your community and stuff. I thought that was awesome. That people could buy, you know, like the bomb burgers that I got. I haven't seen that anywhere allocated or anything, you know, and the fact that I was able to get that at retail, you know, and support a good cause, meet you in person, and then, you know, continue this. It's really cool what you're doing, man. And then the fact that you're able to, like, you know, just introduce people to new things and support a good cause is awesome.
It's beautiful.
No, I appreciate it, guys, and that's the thing. That's pretty much how the whole thing kind of started off, right? It's like blankets for bourbon kind of derived off of the fact that one, allocated whiskey just being overly priced and not, and some of these bottles are not attainable, right? Like, and like guys like us, sometimes Calvin, when he just had to open his bottle. So like we want to drink these stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's like when it's sitting on the back of a shelf at some store just collecting dust for years and years because it's overly priced. And mind you, these bottles are priced, so like whoever these store owners are, they're pricing these bottles more than secondary. I'm like, if I'm gonna pay that price, hell, dude, I'm like, I'll just go pay some dude across the country and like get that bottle for cheaper.
Right.
Price for it, right? So it's just gonna like it's doing a disservice to that said bottle. And so that's pretty much why we started Blanks for Bourbon. But like in the first couple of years before, like we actually coined the term Blanks for Bourbon, we were doing it a couple of different ways. And then what started happening was we started realizing that people were taking these bottles that they won, and they were still flipping them on secondary.
Wow.
So we're like, there's got to be a better way of doing it. I'm like, so I was like, so that's pretty much how like the whole charity aspect kind of came about. So at that point, we're like, say you're donating. So you said you won the bomb burgers, right? Now again, don't quote me on the price, but I think it was around $85.
Yeah, around
Something
that.
like that.
A little more, but around
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
So and I don't remember exactly how much you donated, but say you donated $200, right?
Yeah.
So of clothing to open doors. So now you're $285, almost $300 into the bottle. At that point, you're back to secondary.
Right.
Right. So at that point, if you do want to flip it, are you really winning? At that point, they take the bottle. You know you did a good deed. Open it, drink it, enjoy it with friends, family. So that's pretty much how the whole concept kind of started, and we did it our first year, went great, and then last year we raised over 35,000 in clothing / cash.
That's awesome.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's pretty much how the whole thing kind of started, and yeah, and it's just it's like it's fun and people like doing it because when we chose to do it around the holidays. It's just because everyone's super giving around the holidays.
Generous.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're generous, and also it's also one of those things where, like I always say, people, like all of us want to do good, all of us want to donate, all of us want to help others, but it's just like we're so busy in our day-to-day lives that like you tend to forget. Again, not saying that they don't want to do it, but it's just like
They don't.
work and other things. By the time you do get home, you just tend to forget.
Yeah.
So like we are just like the glue between you and open doors, and we're just bringing two people together. And if it means where I am kind of bribing you by saying it's like, oh, do a good deed and I'll give you allocated bourbon, I'm like, let be it.
Yeah. Nice. And
long
that's
as I
where
know
that's where the Blantons came about too, right? Like people that donated to the event were able to
Yeah,
buy
so
your pick.
the
So that's another
Blantons-
thing. Yeah.
the Blantons, we picked it, I think about 6 months prior to the whole Blankets for Bourbon time. So we picked it probably that spring or summer.
Okay.
And then again, it would, at that point when we picked it, we knew we had something good. We were trying to figure out how to release it when it came out. Because again, I knew it was going to be such a hot thing. If we did it online, I knew it was going to sell out within seconds. I knew if I did it in line at store, it's going to cause like a ruckus. So we're trying to figure out how to do it. And then the whole Blanks for Bourbon charity thing takes place, and then we raise over $30,000. And then I think right after that, because my Blanton's barrel showed up sometime in Jan, so I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then so I think that time we're just kind of like doing the final steps on Blanks for Bourbon. Like we were just counting out how many people donated, just getting data like for ourselves for this year's Blanks for Bourbon. And then the Blanton's dropped, and I saw what the yield on the Blanton's barrel was. So I was like, oh, how cool would it be if we used the bottle as a thank you to everyone that donated to Blanks for Bourbon? And that's pretty much how the concept of it came about to be. And then my buddy, so you know how I like to tell stories with my stickers. I've always wanted to do a Lord of the Rings themed sticker. And then I was
awesome.
like, I think Dave goes, how cool would it be if you did a ring around the Blantons? Because doesn't that ring remind you of a ring? And initially, when he was talking about it, I thought he meant the neckband. So I'm like, who the hell's gonna look at that? And then we're like, no, it goes the whole bottom ring. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And then that's where my buddy Kyle, who's a graphic designer and the family owns like a marketing / print shop, kind of came into play. And then I kind of threw the idea to Kyle. Kyle kind of took my bland idea and kind of went ahead with it. And we did the ring. And as far as the Elvis writing on the bottle goes, like, I believe, don't quote me on this, but on the ring, I think it says one ring to rule them all.
I was gonna say that. Yes.
So we replaced that with a statement with one bourbon to rule them all.
Fire,
That is
bro.
so fire. I love it. I love it.
So
You got
so
the
we did
QC
that,
code on
and
there
then,
too,
we
right?
did the initial mock-up, and then
Yeah.
Kyle's wife Shannon's like, look. So Kyle brings a bottle home one day, and Shannon goes like, "Why do you have an Arabic Blantons?" And Kyle calls me, he was like,
It's
"Dude, you won't believe what
Elvish.
Shane said."
God.
I was like, "No." Then I was like,
Arabic.
and then looking at it, I'm looking at my bottle. I was like, "Oh shit, you know what? Yeah, we know it's from Lord of the Rings because we watched the movie."
Yes.
But for a random Joe Schmo,
It looks
just
Arabic.
curious. That's why
That's
we went ahead
hilarious.
and added the QR code to help translate it back to English.
Tells the story, man, like you said. So
One
Yeah.
bourbon to rule them all. That's fire. I love that.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, this has been pretty dope, Harsha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing the tidbits behind,
Dude, wait,
owning a liquor
dude,
store.
I'm like, I can't
Yes.
wait till you guys see what the. I don't know if I'm gonna get an allocation from Buffalo Trace this year, but if I do, wait till you see what the next few are. It's gonna be its own trilogy. It's all. I'm gonna say.
Oh,
Nice.
we're ready.
Okay.
Putting the T's in. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
We're all ready.
we're definitely planning our trip back up there for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And hanging out, and we could show you how to set up that whiskey room, right?
Bring your tools, Cal.
Yes. So
That was a good time.
yeah, absolutely. So Harsha, we appreciate you. Definitely check out the store, Beverage King, up in Norwalk, Connecticut.
You almost messed that up.
I did.
Correct.
But also go online. You got your inventory online. That's important. A lot of liquor stores don't be doing that.
They don't.
Okay,
It's not
you got his
accurate.
inventory. You
Or
can
they
see,
started and they realized how hard it is to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, perhaps, but
But my man is doing it.
yeah, yeah,
He's doing it.
Doing it. I was
Beverage
actually,
King doing it.
yeah, it looks updated. He got a lot of good stuff on there, so
Yes.
definitely check him out.
Definitely.
And We'll catch you next time. Harsha, definitely stick around so we can schedule this barrel pick. And then we appreciate.
Well, guys, I mean, you guys are actually more than welcome. So I'll
appreciate
let you in
that.
on secret. So
Yeah.
we are gonna be picking Connecticut's first, just because you wore that shirt, dude. Wilderness Trail barrel.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's what I was asking. Okay.
So if you guys want to go back there, you guys are more than welcome to join me. I should be finding out the dates in the next couple of weeks.
Nice.
Nice.
soon
We'll
as-
talk.
Is
yeah.
you going with the Bourbon Swami?
So I'm actually Christian's actually really good friends with the Bourbon Swami. So we're
Nice.
trying to. So Christian's gonna be there.
Okay.
We're trying to get the the good goods.
Yeah.
Right.
With Christian being
That's our
there.
guy, man.
Yeah.
That's
We
our
had,
guy.
we had him on the
Yeah.
podcast, man.
Yeah,
we
we
had
did.
him on.
There you go.
We
Hell,
did.
there you go.
We're-
Dude, more reason for you guys
Let's
to
go.
come.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll
I
talk.
need to pull out those older barrels.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Say less.
Well,
Say less.
No, guys, I really appreciate you having me on. It was really fun.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's actually cool when someone else does the questioning and keeps it going when you're trying to make the conversation happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
We've been doing it for a little bit, you know.
A couple years now. We getting a little better at it.
A little bit.
A little better.
Marginally better.
Little progress, you know what I mean?
Nah, man, you guys are this was not what I was expecting it to be. You guys are straight up professionals. You guys are killing it.
What,
Really
whoa.
appreciate
What were you expecting?
Right.
A shit show?
Now I'm curious.
it. Well, no, it's not a shit show. Per se. When you said it's gonna be a Zoom, I was like, how are they gonna do a podcast through a Zoom?
Oh, okay.
You'll see.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. I
I
said,
can't wait to see
yeah.
what the final outcome's gonna be.
We appreciate you, bro.
I hope it lives up to your expectations.
How disappointed.
Hey,
Nah,
as
but
long
it's
as you
been-
don't cut, every time I'm I start let's cut this part off.
Yeah. And cut. Yeah. No. It's been fun though, man.
It's been great, man, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, man.
Seriously, guys, thank you so much. Hope to
Peace.
see you guys soon. I think you guys were planning on meeting up either next weekend, right? I think we said.
I don't know.
Next weekend is looking more like-
We'll sign off and we'll talk a little
We'll
bit
talk
more.
about
Right,
that.
right,
We're
right.
going to figure something
stay on,
out.
stay on for just a little bit. We appreciate y'all.
Sounds good, guys.
Listen to a Steady Pour podcast.
Peace.
We out. Deuces.
Peace.
Yo.
Well, that concludes this episode of a Steady Pour podcast. Make sure you follow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Yeah.
You know that bottle's not making it.
Oh
back to
yeah, it
your
is.
shelf.
Yeah, it is. It's making it back to the shelf.
Good, right?